Okay, kids, this is a very special one for me, and it's got a story behind it. So in 1983, in the winter of 1983, I turned 13 and I started to get real serious about the guitar and pot smoking, but mostly the guitar. Had a couple of very crappy acoustics that I played and learned on. And then in the spring of that year, I was 13, went to buy drugs at a buddy of mine's house who was 6 or 7 years older than me and a college student, friend of a friend. Anyway, he was selling a blackface Fender Showman and a Hagstrom III for $125. $100 for the amp, $25 for the guitar. So I bought them both. The amp is long gone, but I played this Hagstrom. I must have played it 8 hours a day for year upon year. And I was in bands with it, and as the 80s wore on, I always had it with me, and I lived on various people's couches, and that went on until quite late in life. At a certain point in maybe 1990, I was living on a love seat in Toledo, and we decided to take the guts of a rat pedal apart and mount it between the pickups for the onboard rat pedal. I should add that about 7 or 8 years ago, I set it up for my daughter, who was 6 at the time and who was left-handed, and I set it up with 4 strings backwards so she could play it left-handed. And I have some pictures of her learning to play on it. Metal! And she has her own Hagstroms now, her own vintage Hagstroms, as a teenager. But the point being, I kept this guitar and have always wanted to do something with it. So I decided to sink some money into it and do it up as I would do it as a 13-year-old who got it, who was into metal and Sabbath and pot smoking and so on and so forth, petty crime, that sort of thing. And here it is. This is what a 13-year-old with no money would want, but a 54-year-old with some money would actually have. Gold Kaler. Why a Kaler? A couple of reasons. But the most important reason is, I don't know if you can see, but the Kaler is one of the few bridges, much like the stock Hagstrom bridge, that it will allow you to do a spread bore string spacing. So you'll note, and I'll insert a picture if you can't see, that the strings are spaced how I would prefer them, which is narrower on the base and wider at the top for sausage fingers to make mistakes. Kaler that you can flutter. We also have 1 volume and 2 tones, which is just kind of my hang-up because I play with the knobs a lot. And very important, something you can't get on the stock Hagstrom, is the volume needs to be here where your pinky is, because I ride volume all the time. 3-way. These 2 super minis, note that they are very super mini, micro toggles, so you don't bump into them. The thing are coil taps, so we have singles. For reasons of my own, I picked a humbucker and a mini humbucker. I probably, if I were to do this again, I'm pretty impressed with the mini humbucker. These are Lawlers, crazy expensive, just like the bridge, a real bridge from Bruce Kaler. Frickin' beautiful, in gold no less. This is the original case for it, which I put most of these stickers on. This little note was in the case. Case candy here. This was in the case when I got it. You know, organ effect, it's giving you the settings for the thing, but look what it says there. Brown guitar, February 8th, 1966, in exchange for blue one. Whoever drew this up was the buyer of it in 66. I assume it was new. Put that sticker on maybe 1992, Summit Racing. And it's had various stickers and so on. This last one, which used to say hooker headers, now just says Kerrs. Anyway, the overarching theme of this guitar is what 13-year-old Kip would want, which is what I call the sports Hagstrom, meaning its purpose is to play fast. It has 8s on it, it has super low action, it's been refretted, but with small frets, and the whole point is that it plays fast. This thing is made for speed and little else. Speed and big ugly power chords. Now, as an old man, I would never get up on stage and play the kind of crap that I would play as a young man, with wheedly scales and maybe even finger tapping. But that's not the point here. The point is to complete the journey and please teenage Kip for the Hagstrom that he would have wanted. granted, all frivolity aside, is a clean instrument. Actually, quite impressed with both of these Lawler pickups. I recommend them. Clear, punchy, good. Nothing not to like. And in single coil, this is now with both of them in single coil. A little bit more Strat-like, although not as much as opposed to humbucker. Single coil. Very noise-free, this whole rig, actually. Pretty impressive. That is your 1966, possibly 65, Hagstrom H3 Mucho Grande sports guitar. Been a long journey, and now it's over.